Hey everybody, this is Craig from HFP Racing. I'm really excited tonight to talk to the Ohio State University Triathlon Club. As a proud alumni of Ohio State University, I'm really excited to talk to these guys. I have Mason, Jack, and Krista from the club, and they're going to share a little bit about the club, talk about nationals coming up in 2 weeks. And so we'll go ahead and get started. So, hey, Mason, why don't you go ahead, each of you guys tell a little bit about your background, how you got into the sport, what's your favorite thing about triathlon, and then we'll start off with Mason, and then we'll go to Jack, and then Krista.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having us on, Craig. So my name is Mason Conway. I am the president of the Ohio State Triathlon Club. I'm a third-year undergraduate student, majoring in psychology, minoring in computer information science. So a little bit about my background in triathlon. Back in high school, I was a four-sport athlete with a background in swimming, water polo, and then I also ran cross-country and track. So naturally graduating high school, kind of the next step from there, triathlon made the most sense to me. I ran my first sprint triathlon just a few weeks after graduating high school. And then the spark and passion for the sport was ignited. I reached out to the OSU club over the summer, got a little bit of a training plan figured out, and then first thing fall semester at the involvement fair, sought out the club, and I've been a proud member ever since.
All right, that's fantastic. How about you, Jack?
Yeah, I'm Jack Sitchell. I'm a junior studying aerospace engineering. My background in triathlon, so I played football, baseball, and wrestled in high school. But then coming to college, I wasn't playing those sports anymore. So, I saw an advertisement for an indoor triathlon at Ohio State, and me and a couple buddies did that, and I fell in love with racing. I thought it was just the most fun thing. And then did a small sprint triathlon in Columbus over the summer. Found the club, and I really enjoyed having a group of people to work out with and train with, and build relationships with. That was really cool for me.
All right, that's great. And Krista, what about you?
Mine was a little bit similar. Coming out of high school, I had done 4 years of track, cross country, swimming. Loved those sports. Loved the community even more. So going into college, heard all about Ohio State's involvement fair in the fall, and I was like, okay, got to go see all the clubs. Like, what can I get involved with? And very naturally, like, somebody came up to me from the Tri Club, and they were like, hey, like, have you swam before? Like, oh, you could totally do a triathlon. And very quickly after that, I fell in love with it, did some races, and stuck with the team.
All right, that's fantastic. So Mason, why don't you tell us a little bit more about the Ohio State University Triathlon Club? How large is it? What makes it unique? Is there a coach? Is there a academic, or not an academic advisor, but like an advisor that kind of works with you from the school setting? Tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, of course. So here at the Ohio State University, we are considered what's technically called a sports club. We are not like varsity athletes by any means. And we actually have like an open registration policy. We don't require tryouts or anything like that. We welcome really any skill level. Anybody who's interested, wants to work with teammates, wants to get a practice schedule, get racing, more than happy to invite anybody on the team. We've got kind of like a situation with like overall coaches and then workout specific coaches. We've got Coach Rick. And then we also have some alumni tri-bucks who take care of kind of planning our Google Calendar out for swim, bike, and run practices. We work with academic advisors, the rec sports team over at Ohio State. And yeah, we mentioned kind of all coming from these different backgrounds, and that's really what we're looking for. While we are still a competitive sports club and we get to race across states and at nationals and get to do all these exciting things, when it comes down to it, it's all about sharing a love for the sport and getting involved. So yeah, that's pretty much the spiel we have now on that team.
All right, that's great. Thanks for sharing that. Krista, I think you kind of shared with us a little bit about how, you had a friend who said, hey, maybe should try, swimming, biking, running, combining the disciplines. So what advice would you have for, a high schooler or a college student who wants to give it a try, so to speak, and try a triathlon?
Yeah, I mean, I remember being in high school and I had always heard about triathlon and I thought that'd be crazy to do one of those. Like, I know I have like swimming and running experience, but I know nothing about cycling. I don't know if I could do that. It sounds like a lot. But I didn't realize that really all it takes is to kind of reach out to people. And especially with the triathlon community, I feel like everybody's trying to help each other. So there wasn't a lot around my area, but even just like your local YMCA or a gym or people on your team, coaches, like they might have connections, and it'd be really helpful to reach out and just see what you can do to better maybe your cycling training, and then try a sprint triathlon, smaller distances, and just up your training from there.
All right, that's great advice. So, Jack, a question I have for you is, and since some of our audience members, viewers, may be college students themselves who may be interested in, looking to join a triathlon club for their college or even start one. Tell us a little bit about, if they don't have a club, maybe what's all involved in starting a club, and where do they begin, or if there's a club, why should they join the club?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I'll
for
start with
sure.
like why you should join a club. Kind of like Krista mentioned, triathlons are kind of daunting and they seem pretty difficult, and they certainly can be, but I think that's part of the beauty of it is having people to train with and do difficult stuff with, and crossing that finish line after a year's worth of training with all your friends. That's a really, really cool feeling. So yeah, like getting more exercise, getting more fit, building relationships, all good reasons to join your triathlon club, and then doing tough stuff on top of that, conquering those fears or whatever. All like great reasons to join a triathlon club. And if you don't already have a triathlon club at your school, I'd say definitely maybe look at the running club or the swimming or cycling club, and find some people that are interested in doing triathlons, and build your own training plan, or find some training plans online, and make your own club that way.
What do you guys think? And I'll start with you, Mason. What do you think is like the biggest challenge that you have as a college student, in either entering the sport or just keeping up with training? What do you think is the studying, or is it finding training time? What are some of the challenges that you face? And maybe Jack, you can share yours, and Krista as well.
Yeah, I think a really common kind of hurdle or boundary to get over is definitely finances. Speaking from individual down to the team aspect, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's an expensive sport. The bike costs, the travel costs, race registration fees. Those are all things that you definitely have to consider when trying to get exposed to the sport. But just all the more reason to join a club. We're fortunate enough here to have funding and support from both the Columbus community and our university and alumni network that helps make all that stuff possible for someone who maybe doesn't have the funds to get their own bike or to buy a gym membership. We have team bikes that we let our team use. We help give back race registration fee costs, cover travel costs, and stuff like that. So that community is a really cool part of it, and conquering that hurdle. But yeah, kind of some of those other things you mentioned too. We're all really busy people. That's kind of the beauty of it too. I feel like triathlon is something that does require discipline, and it's not surprising to find that many of us are, like STEM majors, tackling 18 credit hours, or involved in other clubs. It's really a niche community of involved and passionate people.
What about
Yeah,
you,
I can
Jack?
second.
Jack, do you kind of same kind of challenges that Mason mentioned?
Yeah. Finances are definitely a tough part. And I don't know if Mason mentioned it, but one of the things Ohio State's club has, we have like team bikes. So if you are new to the sport, if you're just, introducing yourself to the sport, you don't have to go out and buy yourself a bike and buy yourself a wetsuit. I'm sure a lot of other clubs have the same thing where they have equipment you can borrow, so it's not as expensive from the jump. But yeah, balancing school and training, it gets to be a lot, but it's definitely worth it in the end.
So you mentioned alumni, and so question I have for you is, if I'm obviously being an OSU alumni, or even if I wasn't, if I wanted to, I guess, contribute to help the club, help you guys as students, compete in nationals, and we'll talk about nationals here in a minute. Is there like a fundraising page, or how do you get donations? How does that all work for you?
So actually a lot of it is pretty self-funded. It's something that we kind of have to tackle as a club, figuring those logistics out. Just this year, from my experience, it was the first time on the team where we've organized like our own fundraiser. I worked hand in hand with Krista, and we got an aquathon set up. So we had some members of the team swim laps for donations in an effort to raise funds for nationals. But another big area that we get our funding from is our indoor triathlon, which we put on at the beginning in January, the beginning of the year in January. So we're able to draw some funds in while also racing and supporting other racers, which is a pretty cool opportunity. And then, yeah, we are so grateful and fortunate enough to have an alumni network who we have on like a mailing list we send updates to, and oftentimes reach out to us asking if there's any ways that they can help and support us, either through donations or helping lend us bike boxes. Like, that's a huge thing for us, especially with nationals out in California this year. Getting those bike boxes and just renting them, out of the kindness of their heart, it means so much to us.
That's great. So you mentioned nationals. We've talked about nationals. So tell us what's happening in what is it, 2 weeks, I believe, is Collegiate Nationals. Krista, maybe tell us what you're looking most forward to about nationals. Jack would be interested in you as well, and then Mason.
Yeah, for sure. I think nationals for everybody each year is just really the starter that gets everybody really interested in the club, really connected to the teammates. Personally, that's where I fell in love with the sport last year, and I decided to run for the executive board, and now I'm secretary. And it's just really a time where you get to bond with your teammates and see how far you can push yourself. And it's a huge achievement to be able to say that, wow, I went to nationals and I just did that. Like, I completed a full triathlon, and they're difficult courses, especially this year, but I love it.
That's great. And Jack, is it both sprint and Olympic, or is it a single distance? Is it draft legal? Tell us a little bit more about nationals, and then also what you're most looking forward to.
Yeah, so nationals, they have a mixed team relay, a draft legal race, which I believe is a sprint distance. And then, like, the main event is the Olympic distance, where most of the athletes compete in that race. What I'm most looking forward to, though, is kind of being able to show off a year's worth of training. Like this whole past school year, working out with everybody throughout the week and on the weekends, and being able to spend time with people out in California. We're renting a house out there, so we'll spend a couple of days hanging out, enjoying Southern California, and then race on Sunday, and kick back and relax after that.
So Jack had mentioned, this question is to Mason. So Jack had mentioned mixed relay, draft legal relay, Olympic distance, and then I think a sprint. Will the club race only one day, or will they do a mixed relay? Or tell us a little bit more about what the club will specifically be doing and what members will be doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So we're kind of a unique case where pretty much all of our athletes, we're only going to be competing in the Olympic distance on Sunday. there are it's different like qualifications and sort of like CS points and stuff that you have to meet in order to get slots in per se those like draft legal races, a little bit more individualized competitiveness, and then also the mixed team relay. And unfortunately, like we didn't really have any of those slots, so we're all going to be competing under the Olympic race on Sunday.
All right, that's interesting. When you look at the schools that are in, I think you're in, what is the Midwest Collegiate Conference? Is that correct?
Yeah, it's the MECTC is our conference.
Okay. So what do you think is who is your biggest competition? What school?
I don't want to give them too much credit, but probably that team up north.
Okay. All right. What about nationals coming up? Will that school up north be present? Will they be high up, or is there a school that kind of typically does pretty strong at nationals?
I think we can confidently always say that we want to kick butt for those teams out west. Those bigger schools who maybe get a little bit more funding, who get a little bit more opportunities than us in the Midwest. I think it's always a pretty sweet treat to kick it to those guys. And at the end of the day, as much as we joke about our rivalries here, the MECTC, we're all coming together, and we pretty much want to kick it to the home team out there this year.
All right, that's great. Well, I do appreciate you guys joining me this evening. I wish you guys all the best of luck in 2 weeks. We'll make certain that we get something posted to, that weekend to cheer you on. Is there any other Ohio universities going to be there as well that you're aware of?
Yeah. Yep. I think most of the teams in our conference are going to have at least some representation. So shout outs from the likes of like Miami University, Michigan State, Michigan, Northwestern, Cincinnati, just to name a few.
All right. Dayton, I think they have a good collegiate program, right? Dayton, University of Dayton, the Flyers? Maybe not?
I'm not sure, actually.
Okay.
I'm not sure if we've seen them at any races.
All righty. Well, again, appreciate you guys spending time with me this evening. Let you get back to studying, right? Studying and training. If anybody would want to, contribute, help out the club, either at upcoming nationals or just in general, how best do they do that? Is there a website or an email they should contact? And we'll put it in the information below.
I think kind of what's most accessible, we're really active on social media. So Instagram, it's at OSU Triathlon, or we have a Facebook page as well. And then also just kind of, if you look us up through OSU's like student org website, it'll have all of our contact information and stuff like that.
Also, on our social medias is linked our GoFundMe if you really want to contribute and help us get places.
All right, great. Yeah, I'll look up that information. We'll put it in the post so that way if viewers want to contribute to help out the team and the club, that'd be great. So once again, guys, thank you very much, and good luck at nationals.
Thanks so much, Greg.
Thanks, Greg.
Take care.